When most people picture a United States Navy aircraft carrier, they see the flight deck, that massive runway stretching across the ocean, jets taking off. That is what gets filmed. But here's the truth. The flight deck is not the ship. It is just the roof. Everything that makes it the most powerful warship in human history is hidden underneath that runway. And most of it, the public will never see. In this video, we are going deck by deck into places most people, including many military families, have never heard of. And by the time we reach the bottom, you will understand why everything you thought you knew about these ships was incomplete. The flight deck is not the main ship. It is just the output. The real working airfield is 2 decks below, hidden from view. It is called the hangar bay, and when you see it for the first time, the size will stop you cold. On the USS Gerald R. Ford, the hangar deck covers 5 acres and runs 2/3 the length of the ship. The ceiling is as tall as a 3-story building. This is where the jets live when they are not flying. Modern fighter jets like the FA-18 Super Hornet have folding wings designed for this space. When folded, each jet's footprint is cut nearly in half. Storing more than 60 aircraft requires constant coordination. Small tow tractors move these planes through tight rows. The crew organizes them into groups by mission type. At the rear sits the Aircraft Intermediate Maintenance Division, where mechanics constantly fix and test parts. Getting jets to the flight deck requires massive elevators. 3 elevators can each carry 200,000 pounds. That is 2 fully loaded jets at once. But here is what most people never think about. The jets do not take off on their own power. The launch force comes from a system hidden underneath. The USS Gerald R. Ford uses the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System. A 330-foot linear motor accelerates aircraft from 0 to 160 miles per hour in under 2 seconds. Everything you see depends entirely on hidden systems below. Going deeper into the ship, below the hangar. Deep inside the hull, far below the waterline, sit the weapons magazines. These are refrigerated, pressurized compartments designed to keep bombs, missiles, and torpedoes safe in one of the most active workplaces on Earth. Only authorized personnel see inside. Moving weapons to the flight deck used to take hours. On the Ford, that system was completely redesigned. The Ford class introduced 11 advanced weapons elevators. Each can carry 24,000 pounds at 150 feet per minute. The goal was rearming aircraft in minutes instead of hours. But when delivered in May 2017, none of the 11 elevators worked, not one. It took 4 years to make them operational. But once fixed, they transformed how fast the ship could generate combat missions. Now go even deeper. Surrounded by steel, radiation shielding, and security protocols sit 2 A-1B nuclear reactors. Together, they generate 250 megawatts of electricity, enough to power a city of 100,000 people. The reactors produce steam that drives turbines, generating electricity for everything. Launch systems, weapons elevators, radar, medical facilities, everything. And here is the extraordinary part. The ship only needs half that power for current systems. The rest is reserved for future directed energy weapons. Access is forbidden during operation. Some sailors serve for months and never see it. The reactors do not need refueling for 20 to 25 years. The ship can go anywhere without stopping for fuel. If this kind of power impresses you, write unstoppable in the comments. Here is something that contradicts what most people assume. The island, that small tower sticking up from the flight deck, looks like it controls everything. For flight operations it does. But almost every other control room is below the flight deck. The thousands managing propulsion, weapons, communications, intelligence, and damage control work below, inside the hull. One of the most critical spaces is the Combat Direction Center. This is where radar tracking, intelligence processing, mission coordination, and threat monitoring happen in real time. The room operates in dim red lighting. Personnel track airborne, surface, and subsurface contacts. They evaluate threat levels. They pass information to the bridge and captain. This is one of the nerve centers, and it sits 1 level below the flight deck, hidden. Another classified space is the Carrier Intelligence Center. What happens inside is not discussed publicly. What is known is that it feeds real-time data into every major decision. But the most important hidden system is not a room, it is the structure itself. The entire lower hull is built with a double bottom, 2 layers of thick steel separated by a gap. If a torpedo punches through the outer layer, the inner layer holds. The ship does not flood. Above it, the hull is divided into thousands of watertight compartments. During combat drills, the ship seals every door and hatch. This design was shaped by the USS Forrestal fire in 1967 that killed 134 sailors. Modern carriers are built to survive. Now here is where it gets personal. Below the flight deck, behind the weapons and reactors, live nearly 4,300 human beings. They eat, sleep, work, and call home without ever touching land. On older carriers, enlisted sailors slept in compartments with up to 200 other people. 3 bunks stacked, 1 small locker, a shared bathroom, no windows, no natural light. For crew stationed deep in the ship, weeks could pass without seeing sunlight. Not as punishment, just a fact of the job. On the USS Gerald R. Ford, living conditions were redesigned. Most berthing units hold 40 sailors or fewer. The ship was built with wireless internet and dedicated lounges. In July 2024, the USS Abraham Lincoln was upgraded with a full United Service Organization center featuring a gaming room, movie theater, and private soundproof phone booths. The Navy called it a commitment to quality of life. Sailors called it long overdue. The ship carries a full hospital. The medical facility includes an operating room, intensive care unit, emergency room, and a 41-bed hospital ward. Open ocean surgery, done routinely. There is also a barber shop, chapel, 3 gyms, and multiple mess halls. The ship produces 400,000 gallons of fresh water daily. This is a city built inside steel, operating continuously thousands of miles from land. Here is what ties everything together. The hangar bay stores and repairs aircraft. The elevators move those aircraft to the flight deck. The electromagnetic launch system accelerates them into the sky. The weapons magazines supply the bombs. The advanced elevators move those bombs to the jets. The nuclear reactors power all of it. The control rooms coordinate every mission. The damage control systems keep the ship alive under attack. The medical facilities treat the wounded. The living spaces house the crew that operates every single system. None of these sections work alone. They are all connected. One integrated structure built inside a single moving hull at sea. The flight deck is only the visible output of thousands of hidden processes happening every second. The real aircraft carrier is the connected system beneath it. Most spaces remain unseen for good reason. Restricted access, operational security, and the sheer complexity of keeping a massive warship functioning continuously at sea. New crew members must navigate from their quarters to their workstation in under 10 minutes. The ship is that large, complex, hidden. So here's the truth. The flight deck is what the world sees, but it is what sits below that tells the real story. 11 levels of steel, fuel, weapons, nuclear power, control rooms, and 4,300 lives operating in spaces most Americans have never heard of. The men and women who run these ships work in one of the most complex environments ever built. If this changed how you see aircraft carriers, that is exactly what we set out to do. The real ship was always hidden. Now you know what is actually down there.